The police were already on the way before my moving truck even cleared the street. The HOA president stood there smiling, telling everyone I was breaking the rules on my way out. Neighbors started filming. She thought this was her final win. What she didn't know was that I wasn't just leaving the HOA. I had signed paperwork that morning. And in just a few minutes, the officers would realize the truth. The HOA didn't control the block anymore. And when that truth was exposed, her power disappeared in real time. When I first moved into that neighborhood, I thought I was doing everything right. Nice house, quiet street, clean lawns. It looked peaceful. The HOA welcome packet was thick, but I didn't worry about it. Rules are rules. I've lived under them before. At first, things were normal. Then came the emails. The first one said my trash cans were visible for too long after pickup day. I shrugged it off. The second email said my car was parked too close to the curb. Still didn't care much. The third one came with a fine. That's when I realized this HOA wasn't normal. The president, Linda, ran everything. Meetings, emails, violations. She didn't talk like a neighbor. She talked like a warden. She would stand at the edge of her driveway with a clipboard, watching people, writing things down. Every time I left my house, I felt eyes on me. Then the fines started coming faster. Grass too long. Garage door open too long. Guest parked overnight without approval. I followed every rule. I checked the handbook like it was a textbook. But the violations didn't stop. Linda always smiled when she handed me notices. Not friendly. Satisfied. At HOA meetings, I tried to push back politely. I brought photos, time stamps, proof. Linda would interrupt and say, "The rules are clear." Board members wouldn't meet my eyes. Other neighbors pulled me aside afterward. They whispered, "She's done this before. She likes to make examples." That's when I knew. This wasn't about rules. This was about control. For 2 years, I lived like that. I stopped inviting friends over. I stopped parking on the street. I trimmed the lawn obsessively. Nothing changed. The stress followed me home every day. One night, after opening another fine notice, I just sat down on my couch and stared at it. I wasn't angry. I was tired. That's when I decided to leave. I didn't announce it. I didn't tell the HOA. I quietly contacted a real estate agent. During the selling process, my attorney started reviewing documents. HOA bylaws, property plats, county records. One afternoon, he called me and said, "There's something odd here." The HOA claimed ownership over several common areas. Roads, parking, a green strip of land along the block. But ownership and management weren't the same thing. Digging deeper, we found old development records, old companies, incomplete transfers. Some of the land the HOA controlled? They didn't legally own it. It belonged to a defunct holding company, which meant it was available. I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. I just listened. Because suddenly, I wasn't just leaving. I had leverage. I didn't rush into anything. I didn't tell anyone. Not friends. Not neighbors. Definitely not the HOA. I asked questions. A lot of questions. My attorney explained how it worked. Ownership versus control. Titles. Transfers. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't shady. It was paperwork that had been ignored for years. While the HOA focused on fines and enforcement, no one noticed the foundation underneath them was weak. I made an offer on the land. Then, another. Piece by piece. It took months. Emails. Signatures. Checks. All while I still lived under Linda's watch. She fined me for a fence post once. Said it leaned, visually. I paid it. I didn't fight anymore. I wanted her comfortable. By the time my house officially went under contract, the land deal was complete. The street. The parking strip. The grass she loved patrolling. Mine. Legally. Cleanly. Quietly. Move-out day came faster than I expected. The movers arrived early. As boxes were loaded, Linda showed up. Clipboard. Sunglasses. Same tight smile. She stood nearby, watching everything. She told me to make sure nothing was left behind. Reminded me of HOA exit rules. I nodded. The truck doors closed. The engine started. That's when she stepped back and pulled out her phone. She said it loud enough for neighbors to hear. "I'm calling the cops." Someone asked why. She said I was violating HOA property rules. Abandoning items. Damaging common areas. I didn't stop her. I didn't argue. I stood there calmly. Sirens came faster than I expected. Neighbors came outside. Phones came out. Linda looked confident. This was her final move. 2 officers arrived. Calm. Professional. Linda spoke first. She explained how I was violating HOA rules. How the street was HOA property. How I needed to be cited. One officer turned to me and asked if I had anything to say. I said yes. I handed him a folder. Inside were deeds, titles, county records. The officer flipped through them slowly. His expression changed. He asked Linda who owned the land. She said the HOA. He pointed to the document. It says here this individual does. Silence. Linda laughed nervously. That can't be right. The officer radioed in the parcel numbers. Waited. Then nodded. It's correct. The street wasn't HOA property. Neither were the parking spaces. Linda's face drained of color. Neighbors stopped whispering. Phones lowered. The officer told her this was a civil matter, and that she had no authority. Linda tried to argue. The officer shut it down. I thanked them. They left. Linda stood there frozen. For the first time, she had no words. Within days, letters went out. From attorneys. From the county. The HOA board panicked. Emergency meetings were called. Rules were suspended. Fines were refunded. Neighbors started asking questions. Linda resigned quietly. No speech. No explanation. Just gone. The HOA lost control over everything they abused. And I was already gone. I didn't throw it in anyone's face. I didn't brag. I didn't come back to gloat. I sold the land later. Legally. Cleanly. The HOA survived. Smaller. Quieter. Rules softened. Neighbors finally breathed. And I learned something important. Power doesn't come from yelling. Or fines. Or control. It comes from knowing the truth. And sometimes, karma doesn't scream. It waits. Then signs paperwork.